Somehow the devotees have to learn the principle of leverage, which they haven't. Usually they stick this all the way out.
Right, and it tips over.
Yeah, it is leverage.
Okay. Hold on a second. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Divine Grace Savaya, Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shidaridas Thakur ki jai. Ram Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopakavada Shai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavanam ki jai, Maturadam ki jai, Jagannath Swami ki jai, Yamunamai ki jai, Shivali Lasi Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrindi ki jai, Gaur Premananda. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shivati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivasesha Shinivati Pashyata Deja Tardi Somagana Timananda Shah Galanjana Shlakya Chakshun Meditam Hena Tasmai Shivameda Maha. So we're going to continue with our reading of the Caitanya Bhagavata by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And thank you. Thank you, Dhanyavad. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Sri Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Okay, so we are reading about the events that preceded Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. Specifically, we are reading about Advaita Charya's attitude and prayers out of compassion. Remember we talked about compassion yesterday? And the world is sorely lacking in compassion. We actually see the world right now quite divided in different wars going on. And, you may say this person's right, this person is wrong, whatever. This group is right, this group is wrong. Everything's relative in this world. I mean, basically, there's no rights except for Krishna consciousness. I mean, there are things in the mode of goodness, there are things in the mode of passion, there are things in the mode of ignorance, there are religions in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and there's transcendental religions like Krishna consciousness. However, if one looks at history, we were talking about this before, yesterday, if one examines the history of these different conflicts, you'll see that both sides have some faults, and both sides have some bona fide complaints. So to take sides, and we don't want to see anybody hurt on any side. So, it's really hard. We always take these political sides, get into conspiracy theories, and it just doesn't work. We just have to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness and not take sides in different things, different controversies in this world. Because there are always 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 sides to every conflict. And if we try to see from the other side or each side's perspective, we could see that, they have reasons, within their particular needs, within their particular feelings, for feeling the way they do. Not to say they're right, but they have reasons for doing these things. So, the world's a mess. Always has been, always will be a mess. Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, Dukalayam Ashashvatam, this world will always be a mess. He made it that way. So we can get out, get the H-E-C-K, heck out of here. And understand it's not a place for a gentleman. I mean, that's the practical thing. And so we should stick on or stay on the narrow path of Krishna consciousness. So here's Advaita Charya thinking. Vrindavandas Thakur has managed to capture the thoughts of Advaita Charya before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So we're going to read. Aniya Vaikuntanath Sakshat Kuriya Nachiva Gaiva Sarva Jiva Udariya. I will make the Lord of Vaikuntha appear in this world, and we will dance, chant, and thus deliver the fallen living entities. Text 94. Niravadiye Mata Sankalpa Kariya Sevene Shri Krishna Pada Ekachita Koya. With this determination, Advaita Charya constantly served the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chandra with a fixed mind. Advaitera 95. Advaitera Karane Chaitanya Avatar Se Prabhu Kaya Chena Bara Bara. Lord Chaitanya repeatedly confirmed that he incarnated due to the desire of Advaita Charya. Text 96. Se Navaduite Vaise Pandita Shivas Yanhara Mandira Haila Chaitanya Vilas. Srivas Pandit resided in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya enjoyed many pastimes in his house. We actually read. I'm just going back a little bit. All right. Actually, we read that verse already too. Let me just. Okay. Text 97. Sarva Kala Charibai Gaya Krishna Nama Tri Kala Karye Krishna Puja Ganga Snana. Srivas Pandit and his three brothers continually chanted the names of Krishna. They would take 3 baths daily in the Ganges and then worship Lord Krishna. Text 80, 98 and 99. Nigude Anekara Vaise Natiyaiha Purve Sabe Janmilena Ishwara Abhyaiha Shri Chandra Shekhara Jagarisha Gopinath Sriman Murari Shigaruda Gangadhasa. These are the names of some of Lord Chaitanya's associates. Many other devotees lived incognito in Nadia. That means they hid their identity. By the will of the Lord, Sri Chandrasekhara Jagadisha Gopinath Shiman Pandit, Murari Gupta, Sri Garuda Pandit, and Gangadas all took birth before the Lord. And text 100. Eke balite haya pushtaka vishtara katara pastave nama noiba jani yanra. If I listed the names of all the devotees in this book would increase in size. So I will mention those names that I know at the appropriate time. 101. Sabe Swadharma Para Sobe Udara Krishna Bhakti Vai Keha Lajanaye Ara. All these devotees were engaged in their prescribed duties, and they were all magnanimous, and they knew nothing other than the devotional service of Lord Krishna. Text 102. Sabe Kare Sabare Pandava Javahara Kaya Karo Najanena Nijavatara. They all had friendly relationships with each other, although they were unaware of each other's identities. 103. Vishnu Bhakti Shunya Teki Sakale Sangsara Arantare Dehaye Bada Chita Sabakara. The hearts of these devotees burned on seeing the people of the world devoid of devotion to Lord Vishnu. 104. Krishna Katha Shunibeka Hena Nahi Jana Apana Apane Sabe Karena Kirtana. Because they could not find anyone interested in hearing topics of Lord Krishna, they would engage in kirtan by themselves. 105. Dvichare Dandaktaki Advaita Sabaya Krishna Katha Pasonge Sakala Tukayaya. They would remain together for a couple of hours in the house of Advaita Prabhu and mitigate their distress with topics of Krishna. Text 106. Dagdade ke sakala samsara bhakta gana alapera stananahi karena krandana. The devotees felt that the entire world was burning, and they felt sorry because they could not find anyone to speak to. 107. Sakala Vaishnava Mele Apani Advaita Prani Matra Kalideha Nare Bhushwaita. Sri Advaita Charya, along with the other Vaishnavas, tried to preach to the people, but they could not understand anything. 108. Dukabhave Advaita Karena Upavasa Sakala Vaishnava Gane Chare Dirghad Shwasa. In distress, Advaita Charya began to fast, and the Vaishnavas sighed deeply. 109. Kenava Krishnera Nricha Kenava Kirtana Kareva Vaishnava Poli Kiva Sankirtana. People did not know why the devotees danced for Krishna or chanted his names. They could not understand who was a Vaishnava or what was the purpose of Sankirtan. Text 110. Kichu nahi jane loka danaputra ashe sakala pashandi mele vaishnavere hase. People could not understand any of these things because their hearts were filled with desires for wealth and children. All the atheists would laugh at the Vaishnavas. Sounds like us. 111. Chare bai shivasa miriya nichakare nijahele harinama gayu chai sware. Every evening, Shivas Pandit and his three brothers would loudly chant the names of Hari in their house. So text 112. Shunya pashani bole haila paramada e brahmana kadibeka gramera utsada. On hearing the chanting, the atheists would remark, "What madness! This brahmana Shivas will ruin this village." Mahativra narapati yavane hara e akyana shunile pramada nadiyara. The Mohammedan king is very cruel by nature. If he hears about this kirtan, the whole district will suffer. Text 114. Kaya bole he brahmane grama hoite garapangi gu chai pelaimu shrote. Someone else said, "I'll drive this brahmana out of the town, break his house, and throw it into the Ganges." Phew. Hey, text 115. Eyamune guchaila gramera mangala anyata yavane grama karibe karala. If we get rid of this brahmana, then it will be good for the village. Otherwise, the Yavanas will take over the town. In other words, the Mohammedan king will actually just take over the whole village and destroy the village, which is actually what has happened in the past. Text 116, although it shouldn't get us to have animosity towards Muslims. Emata boleyata pasandira gana shuni Krishna balekande Bhagavata gana. Hearing the atheists speak in this way, the devotees began to cry and chant Krishna's name. Shunya Dvaita Krore Agni Hena Twale Digambara Hai Sarva Vaishnavere Bore. When Advaitacharya heard these things, he became as angry as fire. Neglecting whether he was dressed properly, he spoke to all the Vaishnavas. Text 118 to 119. Shuna Srinivasa Gangadasa Shuklambara Kurayava Krishne Sarva Nayana Gochara Sava Udaribe Krishna Apaneyasya Bhushayave Krishna Bhakti Tuma Savalaya. Listen, Srivas, Gangadas, and Shuklambara, I will make Krishna descend for all of us to see. He will personally come and deliver one and all by preaching devotional service with your help. 120. Yabe nahi paran tabe deha hoite bakashya chali bhuja chakralaimu hate. If I fail to do this, then I will manifest 4 arms and take up my disc. 121. Basandire katya karimu skandanasha tabe Krishna Prabhu Mora Muni Tanra Dasa. I will sever the heads of the atheists. Phew. Then it will be confirmed that Krishna is my Lord and I am his servant. Wow. In other words, if I'm unable to bring Krishna down, I'm going to kill all these people. Phew. 122. Emata kadvaita balena nukshana sankalpa kriya puje krishnera chalana. In this way, Sri Advaitacharya constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Krishna with great determination. 123. Bhaktasava niravani ekachita hoya puje Krishna pada padmam krandana kariya. The other devotees also shed tears as they all constantly worshipped Krishna with fixed determination. Text 124. Sarva navadvipe prame bhagavata gana katav nashune bhakti yogera katana. As the devotees wandered through Navadvip, they never heard any topics concerning devotional service. 125. Kaya duke chahinija sarire dite kaya Krishna boli swasa chandaye kandate. Seeing the people's pathetic condition, some of the devotees wanted to give up their bodies, while other devotees sighed deeply as they called out the name of Krishna and cried. 126. Anabala mati karona ruchya mukhe jagatera vyavahara deki paya duke. The devotees became so unhappy by seeing people's behavior that they lost their desire to eat. So much compassion, isn't it? Actually, we see this with Prabhupada in his preaching. He just forgot about eating in order to publish his books, or didn't spend any money on food because of compassion. Chadilena bhaktakana sarvopabhoga avatarive prabhu karila adbudyoga. As the devotees gave up all material comforts, the Supreme Lord prepared to advance. 128. Ishvara Dayage Sri Ananta Dhamma Radhe Avatirna Khaila Nityananda Rama. By the order of the Lord, Sri Nityananda Rama, who was non-different from Ananta, first appeared in Radhadesh. And the one interesting thing about Radhadesh, it's the place where the Ganges does not flow, so it was considered an impious place at that particular juncture. And so it was previously explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put his devotees in impious places. So the devotees would actually be able to liberate the residents of those impious places. And I made a comparison that Prabhupada arranged that many of his disciples were born in impious places, and that was so that, Krishna arranged, sorry. Prabhupada doesn't arrange people's birth. So, got it wrong. Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva. So, Krishna arranged for Prabhupada that many of his associates were actually born in the Western world and other places so they could assist Srila Prabhupada. So when Srila Prabhupada came to America, he was basically alone. But then after a very short time, you had amazing devotees like Tamal Krishna Maharaj join him. I mean, just like, wow. And immediately, they took up devotional service and became leaders in the Krishna conscious movement. This means that they were not just ordinary conditioned souls. They were sent by Krishna and put in different places to assist Prabhupada. So the same thing happened with Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, that many of the devotees of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu were born in Eastern Bengal where the Ganges wasn't flowing, and therefore it doesn't indicate that they were not pious, or they were not devotees, or they were not great associates of the Lord. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his family, to a large extent, were demons. Oh, demons. Sorry. They were against Krishna consciousness. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his early years, appeared to be more attracted to Christianity, which is really interesting, because the version of Hinduism that had been presented to him was atheistic. What is it? Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivata Smitvenaiva Viksheta Sapashandi Pavetruvam. You know what that verse means? One who considers Narayana, or the demigods to be equal to Narayana, or the names of the demigods to be equal to Narayana, is a Pashandi, an atheist. Of course, you have to be careful how you use that verse. That used to be one of my favorite verses when I went into Hindu centers, until I got banned in every Hindu center. It's interesting how we go to the Hindu center, and you know, some of my friends who invited me, he said, don't preach about that. And that's a challenge to me, that I don't preach about that. And I said, oh my God, what's happening? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw that that was being taught in the name of Vedic culture even. And so he thought, this is nonsense. And he saw something nice in Christianity. He would read the works of Emerson and Thoreau and different works like that. And he thought, well, this is monotheism. This is much better. And finally, he got a copy of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then he said, oh, this is higher philosophical, theological truths. So it appears that he didn't know before. But really, that's not the case. It's a pastime. Under Yogamaya, he may have forgotten. Like Arjuna was under Yogamaya. So he forgot that, you just listen to Krishna, behave yourself. He forgot that. But that was Krishna's arrangement. And so Krishna even himself forgets that he's God, so that he can interact with the devotees. So these are all pastimes of the Lord, that all these devotees appeared in impious places. So like Lord Nityananda appeared in Ekachakra, which, well, now it's a pious place because it's a holy place because Lord Nityananda appeared there. But in those days, it was not considered pious because the Ganges did not flow in Radhadesh. Text 129 to 130. Maga Mase Shukala Trayodashi Shupadine Padmavati Garve Ekachakra Ekachaka Namagrame Hadai Panditaname Shudavipra Raja Mule Sarvapita Tane Karipita Vyaja. He appeared from the womb of Padmavati in the village of Ekachakra on the auspicious 13th day of the waxing moon in the month of Magha. The Lord, who is the original father of everyone, accepted Hidai Pandit, the king of the Brahmanas, as his father. Text 131. Kripa Sindhu Bhakti Datta Prabhu Balarama Avatirna Hailadari Nityananda Nama. Lord Balaram is an ocean of mercy and the bestower of devotional service. He appeared as Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Text 132. Mahaya Jaya Jaya Dwani Pushpa Varishana Sangope Devatakana Karila Takana. Invisible to humans, the demigods loudly chanted Jai Jai and showered flowers. Saidina Haite Ranamandala Sakala Vadite Lakila Puna Puna Sumangala. From that day on, the district of Radhadesh became filled with prosperity. Text 134. Ye Prabhu Patita Jane Nishtara Kadite Avaduta Vesha Dari Brahmila Jagate. In order to deliver the fallen souls, Nityananda Prabhu accepted the dress of a mendicant and traveled throughout the world. So, of course, the story of Lord Nityananda's appearance is a little more complicated than that. That's told elsewhere. That Lord Nityananda was absorbed in Krishna's pastimes when he was a young boy. In fact, he and his associate boys would enact plays of Krishna's pastimes. And there's some description about when Lord Nityananda was enacting the play of, he was Lakshman in Lord Chaitanya in Lord Rama's pastimes. And when Lakshman was hit by the Shakti Shila weapon of Ravana, then Lord Nityananda went unconscious and everyone thought, he was going to die or something like that. But then one of the his friends, associates, they remembered that Lord Nityananda had instructed them when he goes unconscious, Hanuman, which is one of the boys, is supposed to fly and get the Mritu Sanjeevani and bring him back to life. So he enacted these pastimes and everyone thought, this is amazing. He's doing these things in such a dramatic way. Then later on, when he was still just a little boy, the sannyasi came to their house of Hadai Pandit and Padmavati and said, I don't have any personal assistant. Can I have your son? And it described that Hadai Pandit was so attached to Lord Nityananda, you couldn't go anywhere without him. Just like Dasarath was attached to Lord Ramchandra. Same thing. So it's a similar pastime. So he came, and then Hadai Pandit, following Vaishnava etiquette, gave his son. And he just stared at the path and, just couldn't maintain his life after that particular point. So that's the duty of all you grahastas. Guru Maharaj comes to your house. Don't worry, they won't ask for your wife. You won't ask for your wife, but your Tesla. You just have to surrender, Your watch, computer, your mobile phone, everything. Nowadays, people are more attached to that than their children. So.
Take the chance.
So, I was interesting when Prabhupada was first preaching in India before he came to the West. He would go around and ask people, give one of your children. If someone had several sons, give one of your children to me, to get trained up. But nobody did it. Nobody did it. That's how much the culture is degraded. But that's how a sannyasi was respected. If he asked for anything he asked for, you'd have to give him. So, anyway, so we'll continue a little bit about Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Text 136. Navadvipe ake ache Jagannatha Mishra Vora Vasudeva Praya Teno Swadar Dharme Tatpara. Sri Jagannath Mishra lived in Navadvip. He was just like Vasudeva, and he was expert in following his prescribed duties. Text 137. Udara Charitra Teno Brahmanyera Zima Hena Naki Yahadia Kariba Upama. He was greatly magnanimous and the best of the Brahmanas. Indeed, I can find no comparison to him. Text 138. Ki Kashyapa Dasharatha Vasudeva Nanda Sarvamaya Tattva Jagannatha Mishra Chandra. All the good qualities of Kashyapa, Dasharatha, Vasudeva, and Nanda Maharaj were found in the person of Jagannath Mishra. We should also understand that Jagannath Mishra is actually non-different than Nanda Maharaj. And all these other personalities who gave birth to Krishna, in one sense, are expansions of Nanda Maharaj. Or sometimes even empowered expansions of Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj is the original father. And Jagannath Mishra is non-different than Nanda Maharaj. He's not an expansion, he's directly Nanda Maharaj. So you got Dasarata, like that. So 139, Tanra Patni Shachinama Mahapati Brata Murti Mati Vishnu Mati Se Jagan Mata. His wife was the most chaste Shachi Devi, the universal mother and personification of devotional service to the Lord. Bahutara Kanyara Hailatiro Baba Sabe Ekaputra Vishwarupa Mahavaga. After all her daughters expired, the most fortunate Vishwarup appeared as her son. So it's described that Mother Sachi gave birth to 8 daughters, all who expired. That means passed away. Text 141. Vishwarupa Murti Hena Abhinav Vatana Deki Hasita Dvi Brahmani Brahmana. Sri Vishwarup was as attractive as Cupid personified. His mother and father were jubilant on seeing him. So, of course, he's an expansion of Lord Nityananda. Text 142. Janma haite Vishwarupera Haila Virapti Shai Shave Sakala Shastrete Haila Spurti. Vishwarupa was detached from the time of his birth, and he realized the purport of the scriptures in his very childhood. 143. Vishnu Bhakti Shunya Haila Sakala Sangsara Pratama Kalite Haila Bhavishya Achara. As the entire world became devoid of devotion to Lord Vishnu, the future symptoms of Kali began to manifest in the beginning of the age. 144 to 145. Dharma tiro bhava haile prabhu avatare Bhakti sabha dukha paya janiya antare Tabe mahaprabhu Gaurachandra Bhagavan Shakshi Jagannatha Dehe Haila Adhisthana. Whenever there is a decline in the practice of religious principles, the Lord incarnates. Knowing that the devotees were in distress, Lord Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu appeared in the bodies of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. Text 146. Jaya Jaya Dwani Haila Ananta Vadane Swapna Praya Jagannath Mishra Sachi Shune. As Sri Ananta loudly chanted Jaya Jaya, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi heard this sound of vibration as if it were a dream. So text 147. Mahateja Murtimanta Haila Dvijane Tathapiha Lakite Napari Anyajane. Both husband and wife manifested brilliant spiritual effulgence which common people could not perceive. 148. Avatirna Hevena Ishvara Janya Brahma Shiva Adi Stuti Karena Asya. Knowing that the Supreme Lord would appear, personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva came to offer prayers. Text 149. Ati Maha Veda Gopya E Sakala Kata Ihate Sandeha Kichu Nahika Sarvata. All these topics are unknown through the Vedas. Of this there is no doubt. Bhakti Kari Brahmadi Devera Shunastuti Ye Gopya Shavanehaya Krishna Ratimati. Now please hear with devotion the prayers offered by the demigods headed by Brahma. By hearing these prayers, one's mind becomes attached to Krishna. So these are prayers by the demigods. Text 151. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Janaka Sabhara Jaya Jaya Sankirtana Ketu Avatara. All glories to Shriman Mahaprabhu, the father of all living entities. All glories to the Supreme Lord who was incarnated to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. 152. Jaya Jaya Veda Dharma Sadhu Vipra Pala Jaya Jaya Avakta Dhamana Mahakala. All glories to the protector of Vedic principles, Vedic saintly persons and brahmanas. All glories to the personification of time which destroys the non-devotees. Text 153. Jaya Jaya Sarvasaja Maya Kalivara Jaya Jaya Ichamaya Mahamaheshvara. All glories to the Supreme Lord who possesses a pure spiritual body. All glories to the fully independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we'll end the reading here. So any questions or comments? Questions? Comments? Yes.
Does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear every time after Krishna appears?
Yes.
And does Srila Prabhupada also appear every time after Chaitanya?
I've never read that.
But Prabhupada is an eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yes, but it's not
Okay, we don't know.
necessarily true that Prabhupada appears every time after Chaitanya appears. You have to be careful about jumping to conclusions like that.
All right, what was the first question?
Yeah.
What was the first question?
The question was, does Srila Prabhupada appear every time after Lord Chaitanya? What's that?
The first question.
What's that?
Does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear in every...
Oh, does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear right after Krishna? Yes.
But I thought he doesn't appear in all Kali Yuga, so...
No, right after Krishna.
Right after Krishna.
Krishna comes once in a day. No?
Whenever Krishna comes once in the day of Lord Brahma, then Lord Chaitanya appears the
But
next
he
year.
doesn't appear
What?
in all Kali Yuga.
No,
No.
that's not, but neither does Krishna.
Okay.
Neither does Krishna. Krishna only appears once in the day of Lord Brahma. Lord Chaitanya only appears once in the day of Lord Brahma. Okay? Other questions? Yeah.
So then in the prayer, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, I find, where do I find, is Gadadhar missing? Is Lord Gadadhar
Shri
missing?
Advaita Gadadhar. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura.
God was
Yeah.
saying that I understand is Shiva's, but
Yeah.
when we pay obeisances, I can't picture Lord Gadadhar when we say that prayer.
Yeah, he's not there.
Not there.
I mean,
Unless it's hidden somewhere.
implicitly there, but not explicitly there. Chandra Jaya Govinda. Yeah. Jaya Jaya Sri Chandra Jaya Nichman Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura. Shiva's not there either. So you have to complain.
Yeah.
You have to complain to Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami.
I'm sure it's hidden there, and I don't know. I'm sure it's there.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nichman Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. But you're even in that prayer.
Yes.
And Srivas and Gadadhar are not included.
No, but if when it says God Bhakta Vrinda, I think of it Shiva as Acharya.
What?
Because he represents the
The devotee.
Yeah, Gaura
But
Bhaktivinoda.
Gadadhar I can't relate.
Checking him out.
It's a problem. We got a problem here. What do they say? Houston, we have a problem here. What's that? So any other questions?
Please
Yeah.
accept.
No, you go.
No, please,
No, please, you after you.
Please accept Gurudev. I was just, wondering, there's always a theme about devotees praying to Lord Vishnu or, praying to the Lord to come. But in Kali Yuga, the Kalki Avatar, who is going to pray? Is it all of us? Or
I'm going to pray.
Yeah.
We need him right now.
427,000 years is too long.
Yeah, I can't wait. So at least I'll pray. There'll still be devotees, but they'll be persecuted. So they'll pray. Okay. Yeah.
Really, there's a question about, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
But if you ask a lot of Indians, they don't know who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still is.
He's Chana avatar.
He's a what over that?
Chana. He's not known.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, is it
And Mayapur is
intentional?
called Gupta Vrindavan.
Gupta, yeah. So it's intentionally secret, is it?
It's a secret. It's a secret.
Yeah.
And if we explain it to people and show the verses that Bhaktivinoda Thakur came up with that corroborate the point that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar, then people can begin to understand it. No, we find people from all the different places in India and other places accepting Lord Chaitanya, but they have to be explained. And also, like if you go to Tirupati and Tirumala, you'll actually find people, even the Pandits there, the sannyasis there, they accept Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
That's what the scriptures say. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishna. Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yahi Sankirtana Prayarya Janti Samedasa. Those who have intelligence understand that Krishna appears in a non-blackish form in Kali Yuga, and he is always engaged in chanting his holy names in Sankirtan. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishna. Sango Pangastra. And he appears with his associates. Anyway, there's many verses in the Vedic literatures that mention that the Lord will appear as the son of Shachi in Kali Yuga, so we can corroborate that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was trying to understand why it was secretive, given that he was trying to spread the holy name across the universe.
Because Krishna wanted to give Prabhupada the chance. Prabhupada was asked the question, why did Lord Chaitanya spread Krishna consciousness by himself? And Prabhupada said he wanted to give us the opportunity.
That makes sense.
Otherwise, if everybody knew it and everybody was chanting Hare Krishna, then we'd have nothing to do. Life would be boring. So we need some challenges.
Makes sense.
But why?
Yeah.
Like if it's in such a condition that everybody needs to be delivered, then why he didn't do that? And
Why didn't he do that? Because he wanted to give service to his devotees. That's what Prabhupada said. And also, he doesn't interfere with the free will of the living entities. It's not that there will be no people who are not Krishna consciousness in negative definition. no people who are not Krishna conscious. And I don't want to use the word demon. I'm deliberately avoiding the word demon. It's not that they will be people they will not be people averse to Krishna consciousness in this world. That's a given. Even in Kali Yuga. I mean, you could say it'll be like Satya Yuga, but there'll also be challenges. Not exactly like Satya Yuga, I don't picture that. And Prabhupada indicated there will be many religions around the world. And we will respect each particular religion and allow them to execute the principles of their religion as long as they follow the principles. That's what Prabhupada said. So it's not going to be that monolithic that everybody has to wear a dhoti, it's just like, and the women have to wear burqas. Oh, sorry, wrong religion. So, no, it's not going to be monolithic. There's going to be variety. I mean, the Chinese people are going to have their own version, like the Chinese devotees do, of Krishna consciousness. And there's going to be variety. One problem with the way that ISKCON is dealing with things right now is we're trying to make everything monolithic. One size fits everybody. Standardized, and it really doesn't work like that. Like, for example, there's this Kirtan committee on the GBC who says you can't play guitar. They have all this stuff. I don't care what they say. I mean, it's not a GBC rule. It's recommendations.
You can't sing Radhe Radhe and...
Yeah, you can't, there was this... Yeah, if you sing Radhe Radhe, you get thrown out of the Hare Krishna movement. I mean, there was this funny cartoon, but like a takeoff of some movie where someone was saying Radhe Radhe and they got stoned. Stoned. You saw that?
It's terrible.
It was, anyway. It was a funny movie. They actually took an actual movie and changed the dialogue in it.
We're becoming too fanatics on like principles of what's in the Shastras compared to what Srila Prabhupada wanted.
Yeah, I would say more on the details. I wouldn't use the word principles. There's a difference between principles and details. On the details, which are not principles. Principles are like 4 regular principles, chanting 16 rounds, stuff like that. But details are things like dhotis, what instrument you play. These are just details. How big your sika is. Your sika is too big, then you're in a different sampradaya.
Arti is getting changed. How to do your arti.
Yeah, that's getting changed. Like
I
Prabhupada.
was like shocked to read about it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Prabhupada instructed us that when you do arti, you start with the guru and you work your way up.
Yeah.
But now, you start with Krishna and you work your way down.
That's wrong.
I know, because Prabhupada did something different, but there's books, standards published. Prabhupada also wanted deity worship to be very simple. Very simple. Instead, all these complicated procedures, so you have to be a specialist to do deity worship now. And then, to get initiated, you have to be a pure devotee without any material desires, and you have to give all your money, including your children, over to the temple. That's the temple we're dealing with right now.
Wait for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. They ask you a question: how much do you make? How much can you give?
That's really bad.
I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's just become, real. So I was talking to one of my godbrothers last night. Some of you were there at that particular point. Who's here in Australia? I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to get him guilty. Get him accused of being guilty. The senior Vaishnava godbrother is doing quite well in serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada, and I was asking him, if you were confronted with all the details as far as getting initiated and everything right now, would you join the Krishna conscious movement? I asked him that question. He said no.
Well, too, when you have like the Narayana Maharaj's group, anything goes. I mean, so easy to join and get initiated. So why would you?
Yeah.
They give it the same to you.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't join them. I would worship Prabhupada in my own home. and look at a picture and probably give myself initiation. I'd probably become a Ritvik. I'd probably, in my mentality, I'd become a Ritvik. So you can not that I'm advocating, I mean, Ritvik philosophy is wrong. Everything, everything's wrong about it. But when you apply pressure on people, something pops.
Yes.
When you apply pressure, then, people are not going to keep on going. I mean, you have to be really surrendered, really into bureaucracy. Isn't it? So this senior devotee, not going to mention his name because I don't want to get in trouble. And he's one of the leaders here in Australia.
Wow.
Not just a senior devotee, he's one of the top leaders here in Australia. And people are dependent on him for giving donations. He and his wife are giving donations. I think you probably know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so he said that to me. And I said, it's shocking. I said, and would Tamal Krishnamars join at this particular point? Someone with his independent, fiery nature, if he was told, all these details, what do you think they're not doing?
I'll be in trouble.
Prabhupada didn't put, like as you said, the detail. He just said, just prasad and chant. And then the love, the devotees. So when they initially went, they saw Prabhupada doing the cooking for everyone and doing the cleaning. He didn't ask anyone to do all that.
Yeah.
They joined. This is the love.
Yeah, because of love. And that's called, what Prabhupada did was called a high trust culture. When you have a low trust culture, people will fill out the forms,
That's right.
but they won't act trustworthy. The only way the people will act in a trustworthy fashion is if you trust them. Because people will feel duty bound to actually follow
Because of trust. And
because of trust. But if you put a camera and a GPS device on them, they'll figure out a way. It's like the criminals, for example. They put this ankle bracelet on, and so they figure a way, they put a lot of soap or ghee.
We have camera in our temple.
What?
We have camera in our temple.
Yeah.
DT room.
Well, I mean, that's for security. That's fine. I'm talking about a camera on the people,
surveillance.
surveillance in their homes. If you want to take initiation, we're installing a camera in your home.
Mangal Aarti time, make sure you get up.
Make sure you're getting up at the right time in the morning and chanting your rounds.
Crazy stuff.
Young devotees who are coming up there just freak out with the form, and before that they're ready. So
It's a serious issue. Though.
It is a serious issue. We're losing a lot of people to other organizations. And if we simply follow Prabhupada's standard, and also we can have the disciple course, which is good. They get to know Prabhupada. That's an easy thing.
A lot of your god sisters are fighting for that
Yeah,
because they're changing all these statements and they're not liking it.
yeah, I agree. So anyway, so we should follow Prabhupada's standard for the way Prabhupada did things. That's all.
But what's going to happen in the next 10 years when all the Prabhupada disciples, they hopefully they're there for the next 10,000 years, but what happens?
no one will get initiated.
It seems to me they just now, this is more and more Indian sannyasis are taking leadership and they are very fanatics.
Hare Krishna. I don't want to make this an ethnic thing. Anyway, so the point is, but I'm in America and I see the Americans are just as much into bureaucracy as the Indians. It's not really into all these little details. You got to extend, my main point is you should extend trust to people. I trust you. And I felt that way with Prabhupada. I felt that way in the movement when I joined. I'm a trusted person. After 6 months, they asked me to give a class because they trusted I'd be able to do it. They trusted I was reading. They didn't check out how much I was reading. So you extend that, and then people just are so happy that you love them and trust them, and they do more. It's like the difference between fundraising and friend raising.
Yes.
You understand? So if you go out to people's homes and just try to squeeze some money out of them, I remember some of the fundraising things I've been to here. It's like, oh my God, they're squeezing again. all right, we're almost at $10. I'm exaggerating
Yeah.
a lot. Can anyone offer $11 donation? And then they point out, oh, okay, you.
Your name goes up.
How much did you get? So, people give more if you just not, if you're interested in them for as persons, their spiritual life. If you care for people, people will care for you. So, anyway, we're broadcasting this now.
Yeah. It's recorded, isn't it?
Live getting kicked out of the Hare Krishna movement. So, no, I don't have to worry. I'm grandfathered in. You know the expression grandfathered in?
Yeah.
It's like he bought. Yesterday I was climbing some steps in an apartment building, C. Jadradika.
Yeah.
So, and then I said, these steps are not up to code because the steps are too narrow. I said, in America, we'd never allowed steps like this, this real narrow steps. And then Namadweep said to me, he said, they're grandfathered in. Because the old buildings, they can get away with things that are not up to present code. Present code. So I'm pretty much grandfathered. I'm not up to the present code. I can play a guitar, but if I was a sannyas candidate, I could never get away with playing a guitar. But one of my friends, his name used to be Ekalavya. He took sannyas. His name was Krishna Caitanya Swami. And when he was in the sannyas list, he already took sannyas. He played his trumpet during kirtan. I don't know if any of you have seen him before. Really beautiful. He would lead kirtan, play the trumpet, and everyone was dancing. Jai, Hari Bol. And even you see pictures of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, and they're playing sort of a trumpet. There's something that curves around, or something like a horn. They're playing a horn, and everyone's dancing. But he was told by the sannyas ministry, you can't take sannyas if you play trumpet, although everybody loved it. And it was encouraging Sankirtan. So it's just like, oh my God. It becomes, the box gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So we have to be careful about that, or else we'll become irrelevant.
That's it. Yeah.
We have to be open, trusting, and encouraging people, pushing people. You take initiation. Come on. You take initiation. Just like, just like I'm doing with this, this one devotee here. It's a lady, Western lady. And she's, she got sick before initiation. She was in the hospital or something like that. And I said, you got to give her the recommendation, right? Can I say that to you? So even Krishna Lila has become a bureaucrat now.
Part of the institution.
It's midnight, I'm having a heart attack.
So I said, you gotta give her, she hasn't filled out all the forms, and everything else. And he said, if necessary, we'll go to the hospital to give her initiation. So this should be the mood of the devotees.
Yeah.
Prabhupada was like that. There was that story when Tamal Krishna was getting his hernia operation. Prabhupada wanted to stop it, but Prabhupada arrived too late. He had already had the operation. And Prabhupada was waiting there in the waiting room, until Tamal Krishna came out. Tamal Krishna opened his eyes, and there was Prabhupada.
Wow.
So, when you have that sort of relationship, you're willing to go to hell for someone, right?
Yes.
It's a trusting, loving relationship. And so, it's a famous story Tamal Krishna is told. Prabhupada there in the, right in the recovery room. Oh my God, what are you doing? I was trying to stop your operation. Why was he trying to stop? Because it was in India. Prabhupada wanted him to have him in America instead. It was a hernia operation.
I do want to have it in India.
In India,
I
yeah.
want to take a kidney out or something.
Well, because at that time, the Indian hospitals weren't so good. Now they're actually world class. It's a little bit different.
Okay.
At that time, I remember going to the hospital one time in India, and it was serious. I was bleeding, really open gash, and oh my God, they hadn't cleaned the sheets in like 3 years or something like that. And people were dying right next to me. And the doctor, finally, well, the nurse said, well, I can operate. I said, you're not going to operate. I'm going to wait till the doctor comes. So the doctor comes, and he says, would you like a new needle or a used needle?
Extra charge for the
Extra charge, yeah.
Sterilized one.
Yeah. And I said, I don't care how much it costs. And then that's a famous story. Then after the operation, I said, get me out of here. I don't want to be in the recovery room.
Wow.
Just get me out of here. It was a big stitch, 24 stitches.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a big injury in India. I'm not going to tell you how it happened, but it happened. And so I said, get me out of here. So I just gave the money to the doctor. I said, here's the money, whatever it is. And they didn't know at the front desk. So when I left the hospital,
Yeah,
But you
again.
had-
the Gundas started to beat, we got in the car, and the Gundas closed the gate, and the Gundas started to beat us up.
Really?
This is my experience in the Indian hospital. The Gundas were there with the sticks. I mean, the devotees with me, they were really young. They were fighting the Gundas.
What? Is it in Kolkata?
What?
Where was this?
This was in the hospital in Mathura.
Mathura.
Mathura Hospital. And so the Gundas, the guards,
Yeah.
the Gundas. But anyway, they had sticks and they were beating up the devotees, and the devotees were fighting them with sticks.
Wow.
And I was lying in the back of the car in pain. So this is my first experience in conflict resolution. So I got out and I separated the Gundas and the devotees. Said, let's be peaceful. Let's go back and settle ourselves. So we went back and got the doctor to say they paid us already. Okay, let us go.
That was it. Wow.
So that was my experience in being in an Indian hospital.
What roughly what year was this?
70s.
No, it wasn't in the 70s. It was the late 90s.
No.
Yeah.
90s. No,
Late
that's that's recent.
Srila Prabhupada's hospital in Vrindavan is really good.
Yeah, it's a good hospital now. But in those days, it was something else.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Prabhupada didn't want him to have the operation in India.
Yeah. Good reason. Yeah.
It was a necessary operation. So the point I'm making. The reason I told the story is it shows that Prabhupada cared and he loved his devotees, and that's really what gets people to do things. Like you see the preaching that's going on now in Western cities, like Krishna Leela, she cares,
Yeah.
right?
Very lot. Yeah.
And the devotees care, and therefore a lot of people are joining now
Yeah.
because they feel the care. That's the point. Tadati pratigranati guyamakyati prichati bhante pujate chaiva. So that's the key. So people have to feel we care for them. Then they'll do anything for Krishna. Okay, on that happy note, time to end. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Oh wait, someone had a question here.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.